In this episode, we're going to talk about how you can improve the look of your video by using a custom white balance. Do you ever run into cases where the color in your video just looks off, kind of funky like this, where the colors are either really greenish or bluish or, it's definitely not what you remember? If so, we are going to talk about a way you can fix that. Now, one of the things you can do to avoid this issue and to get great looking color is to use a custom white balance. Now, that might sound kind of intimidating, like manually setting the exposure on your camera, manually focusing. It shouldn't be intimidating at all. It will take you about 5 seconds once you learn how to do it, and we're going to show you how to do it in just a second here. It is completely worth it because you'll get such awesome looking color. Now, the first question we need to answer before we talk about how to do it is, what is white balance? Setting your white balance is setting your camera's color temperature so that the whites actually look white. And if the whites actually look white, then all of your other colors will look much more natural, like they actually did in real life. That's a super simple explanation. Obviously, it's much more technical than that, but that's good enough for our purposes here. Now, the next question you might ask is, why do we go through all this trouble of getting the white balance just right in camera? Can't we just correct it in post if it's a little bit off? Throw it in manual color balance mode or white balance mode and just fix it in post if it is a little bit off. Well, the reason is that you can't very often actually fix it and look really nice in post. And the reason for that is that most of us are shooting on cameras that do something called chroma subsampling. And what that means is that as it's recording and capturing the image on the sensor, before it records it to file, it actually throws a whole bunch of the color information out so that it can make a smaller file. And in that process, you get less room to move it around in post and actually correct it in post. So that's why it's so important. Now, unless you're shooting on a $30,000 cinema camera, you're probably shooting a camera that does some sort of chroma subsampling. Now, the way you do this is by using a gray card or a white card for white balance. Now, this is something, if you go to your favorite photo or video retailer, just do a search for white balance card and you'll find a gazillion different options. This particular one is a Lastolite EZ Balance card. It's white on one side, gray on the other. It works well. I like it because you can fold it up. It costs about $35 on Amazon. It's easy to schlep around. I'm not necessarily endorsing this as the best. It's just one I have. It works fine. But definitely look for what works for you. They start at somewhere around $6 for others. This one was about $35. You can also use a couple of pieces of paper stacked together. You want it to be as opaque as possible. I find that doesn't generally work as well, but if you don't have a card, you can get that to work in a pinch. Now, the way this works in general terms is you hold the white card or have your actor hold it right in front of them so that you're getting the actual light you're going to be shooting in reflecting off of the card. Then you take your camera and aim it at the card, filling the majority of the frame with the gray, and then you tell your camera, get a custom white balance from that. And it works a couple of different ways depending on what kind of camera you're using. Here are two examples. If you're setting white balance on a Canon, in this case a Canon 60D, what we're going to do is, first of all, just take a picture of the gray card. We're going to fill most of the frame with a gray card. Focus isn't even that important. Just go ahead and take that shot. And then once we've done that, we'll go ahead and go into the menu, choose custom white balance, select OK. It'll show you the images that it can use to do that. We clicked OK and OK to use it, and it tells us now to go set the custom white balance to that little symbol. So we go into white balance, set our white balance to that symbol, which is the custom white balance, and we're set to go. Now on the Nikon side, it's very similar, possibly even a little simpler. First of all, you push and hold down your white balance button and select the pre, which is right here. Now once we've done that, we let go of that button, press and hold white balance again until we start seeing the flashing in D1. We then take a picture of the gray card filling most of our frame, and we get a little message saying good pre, meaning we're all set, it got the custom white balance and we're ready to go. And bam, that's all there is to it. You are done. From there you can go ahead and shoot, and as long as your light stays the same, that custom white balance is good for you. I would recommend you experiment with it a little bit. Try auto white balance and then compare it to using a gray card to get your custom white balance and see which one looks better. I'm going to bet that in the majority of cases, your custom white balance is going to look a little nicer, or at least a little more true to how the colors really looked when you were shooting. Now, if you're going to apply some stylized looks, getting the right white balance is also still helpful because you typically want to start with true colors, or colors as they really looked when you actually shot the scene. And then from there you can add the style. So I hope you found that helpful. Thanks for checking out the show. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.